Hey guys, welcome back to another video on our channel. Today we're going to be talking about how we got out of debt.
$42,500.
He's not kidding.
Nerd free spirit.
Alright, time to get serious. Are you in debt?
Do you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck? We had some comments that asked for a video on how we got out of debt.
We shared a video back in 2018, I think it was, that spoke about the beginning of our debt-free journey. And just to update you guys, I wanted to tell you where we're at now. As of November 2019, we're officially out of debt. We made our final
Way back.
payment. And since then, we've been putting our money into investments.
After we bought you a car.
Yes,
Cash.
with cash. The reason we chose to go with a vehicle that we could pay cash for and not put ourselves into debt again with was to help us get further ahead quicker. In this video, we're going to explain basically our process, how we did it,
What that was like.
what it was like, and where we're at now, also where we plan to be in the future. We started our marriage with a little bit of money owing to several places. A little bit of everything.
Credit cards, line of credit, furniture debt. You had a credit card, student loans. Is that about it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Somewhere there. A little bit of everything.
We had little to no knowledge about how to steward our money in a way that was actually going to get us ahead in life and to help us live the lifestyle that we want, as opposed to what we could afford, because we didn't know better.
These things should be included in a marriage course. You do your premarital counseling. Yes, you talk a little bit about money because you're supposed to like share what your financial situation is like, but you should be trained and taught how to actually get ahead and like use money as a tool.
Amen.
So when we were in debt, it was a lot of stress for one, and it was very much taxing on the two of us. Well, you feel guilty.
Yes, we felt guilty.
At the end of the month, you're like, oh, we spent like $50 on this. Like, how did that happen? It's like, well, we spent like 10 transactions of like $5 each on these little dinky things, but it added up every month to more than what you would want to spend.
How we felt about being in debt was like we had nowhere to go. We couldn't pursue dreams that we had because the debt is what was holding us down. Essentially, what we wanted to do to get ourselves ahead was going to mean that we needed to relearn everything that we thought we knew about money and start from scratch. When you hear the word budget, it shouldn't stress you out. It should excite you. It helps you gain control of where your money's going.
I remember when we first got married that we didn't even want to. We were just like, I don't even want to look at it because I'm just too scared about what that looks like, and it's too embarrassing or it's too shameful or whatever it is you're feeling about it. Like, you don't even want to like dive into it.
Yeah. The weight of knowing that you have all this money owing to whoever so-and-so from wherever with no actual like hope of ever being out of debt or knowing that that was a possibility. Well, I mean, first of all, we did know it was a possibility. It just felt like it was going to take forever to get there.
And we didn't know if we could last long enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
Once we actually tallied it up, we're like, we have $42,000 worth of debt. Like, this is gonna take us like 5 years, 10 years to pay off, which means we're not gonna be able to live our life. And then I think one of the mistakes that we made was we just like jumped way too far into the bandwagon of being like, we're gonna eat macaroni and cheese every day for dinner, we're never going out to eat, just gonna sit at home, we'll get the worst internet connection, like we'll do all these things just to like cut all the budgets and everything, but you can only cut so far. We tried and failed at that enough times that we were like, okay, this doesn't work for us to just go 150% hardcore into beans and rice and beans, which is what Dave Ramsey teaches. Our character just wasn't at the place to do that.
Today we're going to share with you what did work. Ian and I needed some leeway. We realized that if we're going to make anything work between the two of us, and if we really wanted to get out of debt, we had to do it in a way that was going to serve us and make our money work for us. As opposed to us being slaves to our income. So we got serious. We told each other that in order for us to do this, we had to do it in a way that works for us. To rework things in a way that if our budget only allowed for $50 to spend in cash for the both of us, increasing that for a time. Yeah, that meant we were gonna get out of debt maybe a month or two later than what we had previously hoped.
Right.
But that still meant that we had some sort of freedom and we could still enjoy ourselves through the process.
What could have taken us maybe 2 years took us 2.5 years. And however much more we paid in interest because we weren't going beans and rice, rice and beans.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. We did beans and rice and a little bit of spice. Coin it. We needed a little bit of cherry on top of the cake. We took money for ourselves every month to actually go out to eat a little bit and to do, and it wasn't a ton. Like we weren't like, oh, we're gonna spend like $500. But those were the times that we did spend $500 because when we would go beans and rice, we would overspend.
I know you guys just want to know what we did to get out of debt, so we're gonna get right into it. And I'm actually gonna have Ian share what that looks like because he's the businessman.
I'm the one.
Look at this collar.
I'm the one who actually enjoys making a spreadsheet of our financials.
He's a financial man, and that's what he was referring to earlier when he called me a free spirit and himself a nerd.
Yeah.
Those are actual terms to describe yourselves and how you work with your finances.
Usually there's the free spirit who's like,
I don't care, like, I don't want to look, like, let's just have fun in life.
And then there's the one who's like,
Okay, but like, we only have $300, so we can't go to Mexico.
But this is what we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
With
You
a
need
lot
both.
of compromising and a lot of learning each other and how things work together. But like I said, I'm handing it off to Ian to explain how we eventually got out of debt.
Number one, we never stopped tithing because we believe that money is important. And
it's our first fruits.
We believe that everything that we have is because God gives us breath. And so it's not necessarily about giving that money to the church and being like, oh, they just want your money. We believe that, yes, we're giving it to keep the lights on and pay the salaries and all that kind of stuff. But that creates with a contract with us and God where He supplies our needs. And the second thing was we spent all of our money before we made it. We had our budget and it was for how much money we were going to make that month. As soon as that money comes in, we know where it's going. And then the third thing was that we got it out of our hands right away because we knew if we had a pile of money sitting there that we'd be like, oh, we have tons of money, we can go to eat, even though that money should have been allocated for other things like getting out of debt or paying down this or groceries or whatever. So we created a system where as soon as the money came in, it already knew where it was going and it got out of our hands, so it went straight onto a credit card. Number 4, that we left our credit cards at home because if we had them with us, then if the debit gets declined, we still have the credit card. Oh, we'll just put on the credit card, which then just doesn't help you get out of debt. I think initially you have to take the temptation away until you grow your character to the place where you can handle that and not overspend.
And that's so important because knowing myself, it was so easy to just like look at something I wanted and be like, yep, it's coming home with me.
I deserve it.
And not even just the I deserve it mentality, but more just I'm an immediate gratification person. That's something I learned about myself during this process. I know that I need to feel some sort of semblance of I'm doing something right and rewarding myself for it. Yeah. Some people can delay that gratification until the end of their road, right? And like you reach the goal.
Till the end of their life.
And you reach the goal and then celebrate. I needed milestones along the way, personally. Not everyone is like this, but I believe that it is important to celebrate, set dates and celebrate those goals because it helps your brain associate an accomplishment with a reward. And yeah, it makes you sound like a dog looking for treats, but it's not that.
We are. It's how our brain works.
It is how your brain works, but it's more to do with training yourself, training your brain in new methods, new ways to think about money.
And to get rewarded for different things than what you're currently rewarding yourself for.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of rewarding yourself for bad behavior, you're rewarding yourself for good behavior. And therefore, you get better results. Number 5 is that we had and still have a debit card that we both have for a shared joint account that a certain amount of money gets transferred in at the beginning of the month every month, and that's our money for groceries, for spending money, for gas,
haircuts,
those things, haircuts, like all of that goes onto there. None of our other money is on that debit card account. Right. So as soon as that money starts getting depleted, you get towards the end of the month and you're like, oh, we only have like $200 and we need groceries. Like, okay, well, I guess I'm not getting a haircut.
Yep.
because there's not enough money to get a haircut and get groceries. Like,
yeah, tough love.
That's just how it goes. That really helped us too. It's like having cash, but it's in a digital age where nobody wants to carry around cash anymore.
And that sometimes is the biggest downfall. We don't actually have a connection, a physical connection, with what we're spending.
Right.
In Canada, I don't know if it's like this in the States, our debit cards and our credit cards can be tapped. You don't even have to put your PIN in there. But having something like cash where you see it come into your hands and then you see it leave.
And you're like, ouch, I don't wanna split that 50 for a Slurpee.
Exactly. Exactly. It teaches you, again, to use your mind, to think more about the purchases you're making. You learn to prioritize your spending habits, what's important and what can wait. Number 6 is that we paid off our smallest debt first. We totally agree that because it's just a psychological thing, that paying your smallest debt off first works better than trying to pay the one with the highest interest rate off first. It might not make financial sense on paper, but psychologically, seeing things get removed from your monthly bills makes you feel like you're doing something. Yeah.
And so then you want to push harder, and then you want to push harder, and then you want to push harder. Like, by the end of our debt snowball, in terms of that, like, terminology, we were like putting anything extra that we had. It's like, oh, we make an extra like $150 a month. Like, sweet, let's just put it on the debt because we want to like get rid of it, because you see it going down so much, and so your psychological reward is like, we're so close, we're so close, we're so close. Whereas if you do it the other way, where it's like, well, the highest interest rate, then it might take you way longer to pay off that first thing to get that initial reward, and then you don't get that gratification as quickly, and then you don't last, I think.
Yeah.
And then you give up and you fail, and then you go back to square one because you're just like overspending and you don't want to look at it anymore.
Exactly.
So all of that to say, like, our goal written on our board in our house is to be millionaires by 2024.
June 3rd.
June 3rd. But we're already on track through investing all that money that was going towards debt. We took a small fraction and made our like spending and stuff a little bit higher now that we're out of debt. But everything else gets put into investments, which is probably like 30 or 40% of what we make. But that's just because our goals are there and we have the ability to do that. Like, our goals are to get to that place sooner than 60 years old. Like, we wanted to do it by 2024, so we're on track even to do it by like next year or the year after. We're just putting so much into it and chunking away.
Another thing I would like to bring up that helped us get to where we are today is, again, another Dave Ramsey principle, but was to lower our expenses. We moved to the basement of my in-laws.
I'm freaking 31 years old, living underneath my parents right now.
Yeah, but there's no shame in that.
No, there's no shame at all. You have to do...
in cutting your expenses back, however that looks, in order for your family legacy to be impacted forever.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta make sacrifices. And it's worth it.
So worth it.
Because now we go on trips and go to Banff and do things like you've seen us do in these other videos, and we pay for it cash and we don't have any regrets about it, because we're just like, we can go have fun along the way to acquiring wealth.
Any questions you have, feel free to send them our way. We'd even be willing to do, I don't know,
a crypto video.
Or other videos addressing this topic, because it's so important.
It's super important. If you don't have your money together, it's hard to have your life together. It needs to be focused on, and we don't get taught that or told that enough.
So please, if you have any other questions about your finances and how to get out of debt, or just money in general, we've done a lot of research. We know some things.
We know some things. We know what to do. We know what not to do.
Take every advice with a grain of salt, of course.
Every situation is different.
Exactly. We are wanting to see our family, people in the world, you guys, succeed in life. We don't want to just be on this journey on our own. It's important to us to see how we get to impact the world, and by helping as many people as we can to fulfill their own dreams, whatever those may be. And if that's getting out of debt, we're gonna help you do that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We post videos every other Saturday.
Every other Saturday. Again,
if there's any type of video you'd like to see, comment below. We are so grateful to everyone who subscribed If you haven't subscribed yet, please do.
If this is good information,
and you'd like to see more of it, hit the like button. And
if this is stupid information and you think it's horrible, hit the dislike button.
Don't forget to hit that bell icon. Bing! That is gonna send you a notification every time we post, so you don't get to miss out on a single video of the two of our cute faces. Look at us.
Other than that, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye!
Are you worried about where your month is gonna be next month because of your no money month is?
Are you worried about having no money at the end of the month? Or more month
Than money?
What's the phrase?
More month
More month
at the end of your money?
at the end of
Instead
your
of
money?
more money at the end of your month? I think.
Jeez.
Is that what it's called? Something like that.
We have no idea what we're saying.